I've been debating whether to even share this. Something about telling the story makes me feel like I'm regaining a little bit of control over my life, even if it's through an anonymous account. If nothing else, I at least hope it helps me make sense of everything that happened. The simple version? I found out my wife was cheating on me. That's the story in a nutshell. But the deeper version is far more painful. It's a story of betrayal that extended beyond just me. My wife and her lover weren't just deceiving me. They were using their positions to take advantage of multiple people, including our families and his own. This wasn't just a personal betrayal. It was a web of deception that had ensnared so many others, and that's what hurts the most. That's why I can't just forget about it and move on. Something had to be done. I'm 38, and for the past 10 years, I've been married to Emily, who is 36. Until a few weeks ago, I would have said she was a devoted mother to our 6-year-old son, Jason. Now, I'm not so sure. We lived a simple but fulfilling life, at least from my perspective. I had a stable job, and I dedicated as much time as possible to my family. Financially, we were comfortable. We both worked, we covered all our needs, and we were happy, or so I thought. As a father and husband, I gave everything I could. We had date nights when we could manage them, though they had become less frequent over time. Still, I made sure to be present for Jason. I helped him with his homework. We played games, and I took him skating whenever I could. I had seen the damage negligent parenting could cause, and I vowed never to let my son grow up feeling abandoned. I thought I was doing everything right. I thought Emily appreciated the effort. I believed we were in this together. I thought a lot of things, and I was wrong. Looking back, I should have seen the signs. They were there, but I ignored them. The way she pulled away too quickly when I kissed her. The fading enthusiasm for our date nights. The way she sometimes canceled them altogether. The fact that she was always too exhausted for intimacy, yet somehow had the energy to stay up all night on her phone. In the past 2 months, we hadn't shared a single moment of real intimacy. I blamed it on stress. But then, I found something I couldn't ignore. I was looking for something in our bedroom. I don't even remember what, when my search led me to her underwear drawer. That's when I noticed a piece of blue lace peeking out from the neatly folded garments. It was new. I knew that instantly. We'd been married for a decade, and I knew her wardrobe just as well as I knew my own. This was something she had never worn for me. A sheer, delicate piece of laundry that I had never seen before. I felt a cold weight settle in my chest, but I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Maybe she had bought it for me and just hadn't surprised me with it yet. That was the only logical explanation, right? But even as I thought it, I knew it wasn't true. She hadn't shown any interest in intimacy for months. The idea that she had been planning some kind of romantic surprise was absurd. Still, I tried to dismiss my suspicions. I put the laundry back, convincing myself that I was overthinking things. But deep down, I knew. From that moment on, I started paying close attention. And once I started looking, I couldn't unsee it. Emily was careful, but not careful enough. She was leaving for work earlier than usual, and on some days, she even seemed eager to leave. She dressed up more often, wearing the kind of elegant dresses and heels she used to reserve for special occasions. That's when I started to suspect she was having an affair with someone from work. I decided to check her phone, but she guarded it obsessively. She never let it out of her sight, keeping it within arm's reach at all times. At night, she even slept with it under her pillow, something she had never done before. That, more than anything, confirmed my fears. I needed proof. I couldn't just confront her with suspicions. She would deny everything. I had to be sure. So I waited, watching for an opportunity to get my hands on her phone. It wasn't easy. She had changed her lock code, but I knew she hadn't removed my fingerprint access. I just needed a chance to use it. One night, she fell asleep on the couch while watching a movie. Her phone was resting on her chest. Carefully, I slid it from under her fingers, holding my breath as she shifted slightly. If she woke up, I planned to say I was putting it on the charger for her. But she didn't stay. With my heart pounding, I retreated to the bedroom and unlocked the phone. The icy feeling in my chest intensified. The last message on her screen was a text to someone named Mike. Attached was a picture of her, taken right there on the couch. A picture meant only for him. I nearly dropped the phone. The first thing that went through my head wasn't anger. It wasn't even heartbreak. It was Jason, our son. Did she even think about what this would do to him? Did she care? I forced myself to keep going. I had to see everything. I needed undeniable proof. As I scrolled, the messages painted a brutal picture. Hundreds of texts, stretching back for nearly a year. Countless explicit photos. Conversations detailing their meetings, sometimes in his office, sometimes after hours. At first, I assumed he was a coworker. Then, I realized the truth. Mike wasn't just some random colleague. He was her boss. She had been sleeping with her superior for almost a year, sneaking around behind my back while pretending to be the perfect wife and mother. There were too many messages to read them all. At a certain point, I stopped reading and started taking screenshots, sending them to myself. I wanted every bit of evidence. Not just for me, but to protect myself and Jason in whatever came next. I had nearly 6 months' worth of screenshots when I heard movement behind me. Emily stood in the doorway, her expression frozen in shock. I didn't try to hide what I was doing. I wasn't ashamed. I wasn't the one who had betrayed our family. Her eyes flicked to her empty hand, then to the phone in mine. I could see the fear settle into her face. I expected her to break down, to beg for forgiveness, to try and explain. Instead, she only asked one thing. Why do you have my phone? That was all. No guilt, no regret. And in that moment, I knew whatever love I had left for her was gone. I've been debating whether to share this, but telling the story feels like regaining a small sense of control over my life. Even if it's through an anonymous account, I hope it helps me make sense of everything that has happened. Maybe it will help someone else. 2. The simple version? I found out my wife was cheating on me. But the deeper version is far more painful. She and her lover used their positions to manipulate not just me, but my family and his own. For almost a year, we were all living in a lie. There were too many victims, and that's what makes it impossible to just forget and move on. I'm 38 years old, and for the past 10 years, I was married to Emily, 36. Until recently, I would have sworn she was a devoted wife and a loving mother to our 6-year-old son, Jason. Now, I'm not so sure. We had what I thought was a happy, stable life. I had a good job, and we were financially comfortable. We both worked and contributed, and I made sure to be present as a father. I helped Jason with his homework, played games with him, and took him skating as often as I could. I never wanted my son to grow up feeling neglected. I also did my best as a husband. Date nights weren't as frequent as we wanted, but we tried, and I always made time for Emily when I could. I truly believed she appreciated that. I thought we were a team. I thought we were building a life together. I was wrong. Looking back, I should have seen the signs. The subtle way she pulled away when I kissed her, the growing disinterest in our dates, how she always seemed too tired for intimacy, yet somehow had the energy to stay up all night on her phone. For the past 2 months, we hadn't been intimate at all. I told myself it was stress, that maybe work was getting to her. Then I found something I couldn't ignore. One evening, while searching for something in our bedroom, my hand skimmed through Emily's underwear drawer. That's when I saw it. Delicate blue lace. Something new. My heart dropped. I knew my wife's wardrobe inside and out, especially the things she never wore for me. This wasn't something she had bought for us. It was sheer, provocative, something designed to be seen, not hidden, and I had never seen it before. For a brief moment, I tried to rationalize it. Maybe she bought it as a surprise for me, but that didn't make sense. She had been avoiding intimacy altogether. The more I thought about it, the more that icy feeling in my chest grew. I needed more than just suspicion. I needed proof. So I started paying attention. Once I did, the signs became glaring. Emily was leaving for work earlier than usual, sometimes almost eager to go. She was dressing up more, wearing the nice dresses and fancy heels she used to save for special occasions. She was guarding her phone like a lifeline, always keeping it within reach, even sleeping with it under her pillow. That was when I became certain her affair was happening at work. But I still needed undeniable evidence. For the next week, I looked for an opportunity to access her phone. It was almost impossible. She was careful, never letting it out of her sight for long. I even considered hiring a private investigator. Then I got lucky. One night, Emily fell asleep on the couch while watching a movie. Her phone was resting on her chest. Slowly, carefully, I took it from her. If she woke up, I planned to tell her I was just putting it on the charger. But she didn't stay. I walked to the bedroom, heart pounding. My hands trembled as I unlocked the phone, using her fingerprint. And there it was. The last message he had sent was to Mike, her boss. Attached was a nude photo, taken right there on the couch while I was in the house, while our son was sleeping in the next room. I felt physically sick. My mind raced. The first thought wasn't even about me. It was about Jason. Had she ever thought about what she was risking? What she was doing to our family? But I needed more. I kept scrolling. There were thousands of messages, photos, plans. It had been going on for almost a year. They had been meeting in his office, sneaking around after hours. My wife had been sharing herself with another man while coming home and pretending to be the woman I loved. I started taking screenshots, sending them to myself. I didn't stop until I had enough evidence to burn her entire world to the ground. Then Emily walked into the room. She saw the phone in my hands, and for the first time, I saw fear in her eyes. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She just asked, "Why do you have my phone?" I let out a short, bitter laugh. "You know what I found here, right?" She said nothing. I scrolled back to her most recent nude, turned the phone to her, and tossed it onto the bed. Her eyes widened. She tried to explain, tried to say it wasn't supposed to go this far, that it didn't mean anything at first, that things had spiraled out of control. I asked her if she had no control over her hands when she lifted her shirt for her boss, when she sent those late-night messages, when she exchanged "I can't wait to feel you" texts. Then, the worst excuse of all, she told me she had done it for us. For us. She claimed her boss had hinted at a promotion if she agreed, that she did it to secure our future. But a year had passed, and promotion never came. I looked at her with nothing but disgust. "You're telling me you threw away our marriage for promotion? And you didn't even get it." She started crying, saying she felt pressured, that it was the only way to advance her career. "If you really felt pressured," I said coldly, "why didn't you come to me? Why keep it up for a year? Why send him nudes? You weren't pressured. You wanted it." She had no answer. She begged me to work it out, said she'd block him, quit her job. But it was too late. The damage was done. The marriage was over. I filed for divorce immediately. But as painful as it was, something kept nagging at me. Mike. He had used my wife, destroyed my family, and walked away without consequence. So I found his wife. Her social media was full of happy family photos. Mike, his wife, Anna, and their 2 kids. The perfect husband. The devoted father. I sent her everything. She took her time processing it. When she finally called, her voice was hollow. I told her everything. She thanked me for telling her. Days later, she texted me. She had confronted Mike. He denied it, until she told him I had the uncensored photos. Then he crumbled. She left him. But that wasn't all. Mike had violated company policy. She reported him. Within a week, he was fired. Emily never mentioned it to me. I'm sure she knows I had a hand in it, but there's nothing left to say. I lost my marriage, but I didn't let them walk away unscathed. Now, I just focus on Jason, on rebuilding, on moving forward. It will be a long road, but at least now, it's one I walk with my head held high.